Boom, 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 boom. It is time to break one of the most amazing athletes down in the history of our sport. UFC 254 displayed a bevy of things in a conversation that will never be superseded by any other. Because once you meet GOAT material, there's only one. And today we're going to celebrate, not only celebrate, but bring to the forefront the most dominant athlete of this era in combat sports. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. For those of you who have never watched this channel, shame on you. And boy, you're late to the dance. My name is Eric A. Bradley, aka Now It Is Time to Box. On the Fight Show, UFC 254, Justin Gaethje, a very, very formidable athlete. We must say that the guy came with a lot of different tools in the tool shed. But I'm a real coach, so I'm not just a talking head. I want you guys to, who follow us, understand our channel is combat across the board. We teach, we have facilities, we work with top athletes, so we're just not, talking heads. We like to inform our audience. So for those of you who like to learn how to do specific skills and techniques, be sure to subscribe because that's what we do on a daily basis, every single day of the week. We get it popping. But one of the things that I like about Justin Gaethje, he came with a mindset of a gladiator prior to the fight. It's easy to do this talk part of it, hitting the weigh-in, draining out weight. I'm going to give you 3 different instances or things that go on in a fight camp prior to the fight happening. And I want you to take this first 3 minutes of this show, this segment, and really digest and take out your pen and pad because you might want to take notes if you're considering fighting, or if you know someone that does fight, you'll be able to pass these pearls along to them. And if you are currently moving from amateur to professional and you're trying to compete and get into the minutia of what goes on in a fight game, let me explain. These are the things that you must look forward or look at directly through the telescope, and do not overlook them because they will come up and bite you. When you are going up in stages, going from the amateurs into the pros, there's in boxing, there's been amateur programming for many, 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 many decades. But when you transfer to the pros, there's a different dexterity that has to be delivered, that the body has to be impacted with, because boxing is not fighting, and in the pros is called prize fighting. When you're an amateur, you're developing. Some of you guys are in the world of kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Greco-Roman wrestling, all of these different Hapkido, Taekwondo, whatever it is you bring to the table, Judo. You start out learning with baby steps. And then you see people, just because they look similar to you, that you feel as if you can look at what they're doing and you can elevate yourself to that level. Well, as I get into Justin Gaethje against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the things that you must know is that seeing it from the outside, you're always looking at it through a fish-eyed lens. That means you're looking at it from a linear position, a straight line. You cannot see what's going on in front of you. So it's nearly impossible, unless your coach has true experience in the martial arts and combat at a very high level. You will never understand how important it is for you to take what it is that you know and apply it based upon what your experience is. If you have not been in a ring with a person that has a skill set, look at guys like Manny Pacquiao. We trained and worked with Manny Pacquiao for years. I've actually battled against his coach, Freddie Roach. When it all came down to it, there's levels. And when you're trying to take that next step into that next echelon, These are uncharted waters. You have not had experience in this. Note that the next thing, when you see it, and no one in the gym can mimic this. Why? Because it's a unique thing. You can look at Michael Jordan, you can look at LeBron James, you can look at people like Tiger Woods. Someone's going to try to mimic what Dana White's doing, but they won't be able to do it. That's why I got this 25th anniversary joint on. Conor McGregor versus Nurmagomedov, because you're witnessing history right now. Remember this. You have to get experience. Justin Gaethje just fought Tony Ferguson, who's coached by my former fighter, Rashad Holloway. You can pull it up, because the thing about it is, speaking to Rashad, is a very, very pugilist fighter. He sparred for many years with Manny. He was his chief sparring partner with Shane Mosley, Antonio Margarita, a bunch of killers. But as chief partner in that corner, my biggest words to a man who I understand had an amateur pedigree and understood the skill set of boxing, my thing was, why did you let him, speaking of Tony Ferguson, fight that way without any discipline? And basically he said, it's not like boxing. You know, this game over here is a lot different, and it's not as structured and organized. And I can take that with a grain of salt, because I'm talking about one of the more pugilist fighters that you will ever meet. And that's why he's front face in the corner of Tony Ferguson, arguably the top 6 guys now after that fight with, Justin Gaethje. He's in 6. He was in the top 3 before that. But the reality is, it's levels, and Gaethje has timing. So tonight I was thinking, people didn't realize note these things down. The segment here we're getting into is how to break them down prior to the fight. He did not really pay attention to how Conor McGregor got caught with that right hand in the front in the first round against Nurmagomedov. And how did that happen? Well, it happened because Nurmagomedov hands are fast. And tonight he came out with a jab that he couldn't be timed. And that's what I mean. Being able to have experience in the ring with someone with that's a different animal, a different beast inside of that ring. When it's all said and done, man, you can look at all the film you want to. But Justin Gaethje, when he walked out into that octagon tonight, the first thing you realize is that he had jumped into the waters and did not realize that it was the ocean. This was not a swimming pool. And when you could look at Khabib earlier in the week and they asked about him, you said he's a very good fighter. He said he's a very good fighter in the first round. And he kind of left it there. But in the second round, it's pretty regular. And what that's saying, that we know in the fight game, for those of you who are not really in the fight game, I want to give you insight to what that means. Front runner. I mean, he's going to come out and hit a home run in the first inning, but he won't even hit a single in the next 8 innings. So if the score is going to be 1-0, yeah, you win. But if the other team get a few RBIs or even a home run to match that, then you've shot your entire load in the first round. Now, when you think about that, your objective is to have a strategy where you don't give it all up in the first round. But this is your third tip. When you get inside of that ring, that octagon is there, and staring directly in front of you is the man. And people are made up by vibration. That's why there are laws of attraction. If you have a female, or if you're a female and you have a male, that something just pulls you guys together. Or if you have a friend or a coach or a loved one, a relative that pulls you in. Before I get to this next point, make sure you subscribe and like the video. YouTube loves when you like, and we want to make sure that we can get our word out and make all of the people that are requesting knowledge about the fight game. That's how YouTube listens, knowing that that's exactly what they want to hear. So give us that like, all right? Don't play around with it. Let's get it back to the topic. at hand. When they start to realize the water is going to get to a point where it gets deep and it's time now to swim, the biggest thing that you have to remember whenever you're in the fight game, and this is what we go through, we experience these type of pitfalls, that energy, that vibration, it's real. You've been in the room and the laws of attraction have taken over. And that's why they come up with the term love at first sight, or your energy. I'm feeling your energy, or I'm basically just feeling you. But whenever they got in there, you could see that it got real to Justin Gaethje. He realized, holy smoke, I'm in the ring with Khabib Nurmagomedov. The ego, the reality settled in. Soon as they hiked the ball, everything showed on his face. The pressure that Khabib was putting on, the mental pressure. He knows how to cut off the ring. He popped the jab. He popped the jab. He popped the jab. And next thing you know, you looked at this situation like, this is not the typical situation. We were thinking this was going to be a formidable matchup, but it was just a snack for Khabib, who had bigger things on his mind, like when this fight is over, I want to be crowned the greatest fighter in the UFC, and I want to retire, this being my last fight. Justin Gaethje did not stand a chance. And the thing that gave that all up is when his coach, who's a boxing coach, is very wise to this game. He's also coach of Thug Rose, who also has another, her BJJ coach, Tony Basile, is a friend, associate, and partner in the circle. And when you see these individuals, you know you got the creme de la creme of the crop. And whenever you see this man, the deer in headlights look like this is his last. He couldn't even catch his breath on the stool. His coach was giving him clear instructions. Calm down, relax. You've already started taking his leg out. He already can't put pressure on it. And what you saw after that was the bell rung for the second round, and he did absolutely nothing what his coach asked of him. And he couldn't have asked. As a coach, I've been in a corner and I've figured out things. I got baptized by fire in a world championship fight, and my mentor asked me on the spot, tell him to throw the jab, because a certain level and certain vibration lands on fighters' ears in the midst of the battle. And sometimes it's not your voice. You don't have the right vibration. And all of a sudden it gets put on my lap. I will never forget that moment, because that's the moment I got baptized by fire, and it catapulted my career. And the things about it is, when he spoke to that man in the proper vibration, what that just said about Justin Gaethje is he's just simply too overwhelmed by the GOAT. Khabib Nurmagomedov had much bigger things on his mind, and just getting this fight over was one of them, so he could announce his retirement. After the fight, it was obvious that this was simply an exit strategy to really capture his life back and process who he is now after losing his father. So may his father rest in peace. All of you guys out there in social media who follow the world of combat across the board, big shouts out to you. Let us know where you're from. Drop your name down in the comment box. I want to check you guys out on the feed. And we are one, and we're taking over sports at large. We will be the pinnacle of all sports when it's all said and done. Until next time, that's all I got. Coach Eric E. Bradley signing out. Until next time, be blessed at God's speed. Subscribe if you love the fight game. Make sure you give us that like. So we know this is the type video you like because we've been doing this for you. So long, peace, and congratulations to Khabib for doing us a favor and showing us what it looked like at the highest level of mixed martial arts. So long, peace.